Hi, Scott here again from Kinetic 365 Coaching, talking again now about the Orbea, the Orca OMX. So I've had it a week now and I've taken her out in strong winds. We've done long climbs, 5 mile in length. We've done some fast descents. You can see one of the other videos inside this video on one of the descents that we had. We've basically taken her over lots of different durations. I've stuck some 28 tyres on her as well, taking her over some gravel roads, and feedback obviously from a bike. This one's retailing in about £5,000. Top end you're going to be paying, you're not going to get much change out of 9,500. Entry level with the mechanical Shimano 105, you're going to be just over £4,000. So yeah, it's an expensive bike, but there are dearer bikes out there and there are cheaper bikes out there. That's entirely down to the individual and what you're looking for. This bike is aero, yeah? It is built for endurance as well. It's built for speed. Okay, it doesn't claim to do one of them particularly at the highest level, but I'm a rider I'm not going to race. I enjoy going fast. I want to have a really top-notch experience on the bike. Yeah, I like to be a connoisseur of all things bicycling, if there is such a term. So yeah, I love this bike. And it gives me, I'm not going to find huge faults in it. I'm not going to sit here and do a review and say this bike at particular speed, okay, doesn't have the aero of, say, a Cervelo, doesn't have the aero of a Giant, etc. Not going to do that. This is a super bike. The reason that I love the Orbea is because if you look at a lot of aero bikes now, you're going to see similarities in the style. We've got aero forks, we've got the aero framing, we've got the geometry of the stays. Everything about this bike is built for aero, but you can look at a lot of other brands and you can see the similarity. For me, because I ride an Orbea, anyway, it's the personalised paint job. It's the attention to detail that Orbea go to with, for example, how they will allow you at the onset of purchase to choose crank length, your gearing, your stem, and your bars. Now, as a bike fitter, that's huge, especially for people who may not fit into the geometry of standard bikes. I see lots of people tall, thin, narrower shoulders, wider shoulders for their particular height. So that's something really to be grasped at, and why all ranges and all bikes, if you're going to be paying £4,000, they should all have that, and shops should work with you on that. Obviously the cabling on this one is far superior to my Orbea Orca, the OMR. And the front end, yeah, there are tidier ones out there, probably more sexier ones, but this does the job and it's super stiff and super clean. The bars themselves, there's less flare on the bars on this design than the OMR, and the handling at high speed it's almost like a lightsaber. I almost feel like I'm a Jedi, and if you look in the video you can see we're hitting speeds of 50 miles an hour quite easily on this bike. The gearing on this, the SRAM 48, I just love it. Older man, older legs. This gearing for me, I just found it superb. And I was climbing in the 48 and just using so much more range of the cassette than I found even on my absolute black ovals. What I super like about it is, obviously I've talked before, is the front end, so the Garmin and the GoPro holder. And that brings me on to what I didn't like. I'm not a fan of the seat post. For me, I do a lot of filming when I'm out riding. My GoPro connector won't go on to this seat post. It will fit on my Aero Orca. So sometimes changes happen. Companies are driven by them, to make these tweaks, whether whether it's feedback from consumers, I'm not sure. Sometimes, but obviously with the seat post in line with the tubing design. It kind of makes sense on that. One big plus point from this is the saddle, is the Selle Italia, the Boost. I've tried a lot of stumpy saddles, I've got a lot of them behind me there, and this one, without a shadow of a doubt, beats them all for me. Okay, and that's important for my particular anatomy. I've got my little pelvis here. Okay, so for me, yeah, getting my sit bones on this saddle in one measurement was easy. And I found when I was climbing, I was able to, the saddle allowed me, it just drew me in, and the comfort was fantastic. And then when I rolled off the front, again, I had very good support. I would strongly recommend, if you are looking for a stumpy saddle and you've had a little bit of issue finding that go-to point, if you can get a demo of one as well, try that one out. I've got no connection with Selle at all. I just love that. I love that saddle. Disc brakes. You've got to be a fan of disc brakes with this bike, because obviously it doesn't come in any other ones. Now, I'm obviously of the older rider generation, so moving to disc brakes was something that, I was a bit like, no, I'm not a mountain biker, I'm a road rider. The terrain that I ride mostly in, obviously, with a lot of climbs, I was really, when discs first came out, I wasn't a fan, very, very heavy. But now, I just wouldn't go back. You know, with the option, I just love them. Okay? Yeah, there's stories out there of people doing silly things, you know. Who people getting, I saw the other day, people, you know, getting burns on their legs with disc brakes heating up. That's just silly, is it not? You know, don't touch the thing. Okay? You know, they are wonderful. Yeah? And this bike, with this setup, it's got a pair of very basic look classic pedals, is coming in at 7.9 kilos. So light, not super light, you know, for me light, you know, I'm a light rider. There are lighter bikes out there, there are lighter climbing bikes out there, but this bike climbs beautifully. The stiffness of it is fantastic. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so I'm not giving a you know, maybe a true reflection of how stiff it is when you ride, but it is super stiff. Now, Orbea claim it's 15% more aero. It doesn't look more aero than my OMR, but boy, she does enough move through the wind really well. I was out in strong gusty winds of 30 to 40 miles an hour, and tucking in, yeah, you're going to get a little bit of kick from the side winds. The Vision carbons, you know, we've got 40 mil on there, but she just handles so well. I keep going back to that handling at speed. Honestly, it's so beautiful. So smooth. Okay, so for me, it's a winner, yeah? Only downside for me is that seat post and my GoPro clamp. You know, just keep it simple, yeah? Keep it simple. With the SRAM, I'm a fan of SRAM. I just like, I've got clumsy big fingers, fat fingers for a wee guy. And I just love the pads on the SRAM. But again, personal preference for people. You can have it set up however you want. That's the beauty of the uniqueness with Orbea. So, is this bike worth its money? Well, it depends on where you're going to start and enter, but for me, without a shadow of a doubt, if you're going to spend 4 or 5k on your next super bike and you want that personalisation, then you ain't going to go further than that personalisation of that paint job. Okay? And then picking the components, if you can get yourself in touch with someone who can specifically measure you so that you know what stem, how to build the bike, what crank length is going to suit you, but especially what bar width is going to suit you. That's so crucial. So many people, they're in trying on bikes and they're playing about with the saddle. We can get the saddle to any height on any bike. We can't change that top tube length. We can change the bars, but it's an extra cost after you've bought the thing. So for me, it's win-win. Hope this has been helpful. If it has, maybe give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. I've got lots more videos on all things bike fitting, and mainly most fitness and performance testing and training. So you have a good day, and if you get a chance to ride one of these, you're going to love it. Thanks very much.